Hello everyone and welcome to Weekend Chat.
Hi guys, it's good to see you.
And it's good to see you.
And it's good to see you too. Actually not virtually for a change. It's so nice, right? In the flesh.
Yes.
Like
yes,
the old
so
days.
Good. Yes. Yes. And well, you're all smiley.
I am, because I'm thinking about my summer holidays. I'm very
So you're going
excited
away?
about that. I am going away. We are going to. Now, we booked this a year ago, and I feel like I have to preface I feel like I almost have to defend the fact that I'm going on a holiday, because it feels like some people are still a bit, you shouldn't go on a holiday, you should stay home, you should staycate, whatever the case may be. But we did book this, a long time ago, and we were watching the day before. We'll make the final decision, but we go to Italy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, but we've been really watching the numbers. Things are very much more under control there,
Yeah.
and Italy is not on the list of restricted countries visiting from Switzerland or quarantined under quarantine. So I feel like it's okay. And we're going to an island. So
Where?
we're to Elba.
Okay.
So we're not staying in the mainland, and we're driving. We're not flying. So and we'll bring our masks. Because when we looked on the tourism website for Italy, it was, they give you clear guidelines as to what you can do and what you should do, when you should wear a mask, when you shouldn't wear a mask. So you still have to incorporate these things, but wow, I'm
What about
I'm
the
so
whole? So
ready.
you're staying in a hotel?
We are staying in a hotel, and the hotel has also told us to wear a mask in certain parts of the hotel, and also on the beach, how close you can be to the other families. Because normally on the Mediterranean, you're like packed like sardines on the beach. But here, they've created bigger spaces. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be okay. You never know. And like I said, we'll decide the day before, but I think it's going to be okay.
So you're going to be checking the news on a regular basis until you go?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll make that call at the end. And if we don't go, then, Switzerland is a beautiful place. There's always things to see here.
Of course, exactly.
And you, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm also traveling. I'm going to Portugal.
Okay, so I'm not alone.
No, you're not alone. But for me, it's also kind of going home because I'm also Portuguese. So I feel I'm probably, just if I would stay here, I'm as safe there. I can get around. I'm also staying with my mom in the first week. And after that, we actually booked a house with a pool. So I also feel we're not in a hotel. We're not sharing. We have our own space. Of course, the numbers have been going up a little bit in Portugal, but I think it's more or less the same here. The only thing, when you fly there, in Portugal, they will check your temperature at the airport. A few countries have to bring their own COVID test, like the US, for instance. If you come from the US, in Portugal, you have to bring a COVID test, or they'll do a test at the airport, which you have to pay for. So I might do a test just to have it. You don't have to have it if you come from Switzerland. But yeah, there's a website like Visit Portugal that has all the rules for the beaches. That you have to use masks everywhere there is closed. But I feel, it should be fine. And even though we're going on vacation, we're not letting you alone. We're not leaving you alone, right?
No, we're not. We are leaving you with #Inspirational Summer by CNNMoneySwitzerland. And all joking aside, I like the hashtag, but we are looking at mega trends that we have identified and kind of divided it up between the team. So you'll see different faces popping up for different topics. So we've got 5, actually. We're looking at digitalization, which is, this week, for example, we have Anna now talking about the gig economy, an interview with their CEO. We've got new work, so jobs of the future, lifelong learning, things like this.
So it's a summer series.
Diversity, yes, it's a summer series. And then well-being, which is you.
Yeah, exactly. So I spoke to H-Tech company Karu. I spoke to Susan Dröscher. It was actually just aired this week. She speaks about what she would see in the future of H-Tech and that there's so much more that we can do. So you can check that out on CNN Money Switzerland. And while I spoke about well-being, you spoke about sustainability, right?
I did, which is close to my heart. So I was quite in a happy place. But yeah, we looked at sustainability in construction. We've looked at sustainable finance. So Miriam Staub-Bissang, who's the CEO of BlackRock Switzerland, is online now. So we spoke with her and also had a good chat with the CEO of South Pole, who does all the carbon credits and looks at this market, which is very, very interesting. And really, there is a future there. You know, from what he says, I mean, he makes a really good case. And then Planted, which was like all about the
food, alternative meat.
Yes, alternative meat alternatives.
I love that.
I learned so much, and I spoke to two of the founders, because there's 4 of them, and 2 of them came, and we talked all about this plant-based revolution.
So it's actually it's faking chicken meat.
Somehow, yes. I don't think they like it because if you call it fake or imitation, but yes, there's 4 ingredients. It's a very basic formula, and they've created this chicken that is plant-based.
And it consists of peas, I think.
Yeah, pea protein is like the main ingredient, and then you have like 3 other simple ingredients. I don't know, maybe water, oil, something else. And it comes together, and they are really, now they're like at 600 different co-op locations. I mean,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I've tried it before, and I loved it, I must say.
Yeah, and it's well, you and I have taste tested plant-based before. Remember we did the Impossible Burger story?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Anna Maria and I went to a Nestle tasting where they had this Impossible Burger. And I also once covered Beyond Meat. I'm sure that you heard of it, which is also available now in Switzerland in a few supermarkets, but also in restaurants. And it's faking red meat. Yeah. It's really amazing because it tastes almost like the real product it's imitating.
Yeah.
And it's also it's pea based as well, the Beyond one. So yeah.
So good, and it's interesting too, because we don't only talk about the fact that it's, you know, that the demand is really exploding, but also the challenges that the industry faces in terms of not getting enough policy support and regulation, and having to pay tariffs, and you know how it still is. There's still some obstacles to overcome, but anyway, very interesting chat. I recommend you don't miss it.
Yeah, you find everything. It was interesting what he said, that they're also working with meat companies. So they're not really, they are competitors somehow, but they're also trying to find ways to work together.
Yes, he did say that early on they started having these conversations, according to Pascal Bieri. And they were a bit surprised, but you know, it's the case where, according to him, the meat producers are understanding that this is also the future. So that somehow they have to start getting in on the conversations, because they're going to go there anyway. So not yet per se, but it's coming. I think it's in the works. Totally.
Cool. And you find all these stories about the alternative meats on cnnmoney.ch.
Summer series, Inspirational Summer.
That's right. And sustainability, you said it's a topic dear to you as well.
Yes. I confess I'm always very interested in climate topics and in the crisis, and in just creating a better world and leaving our children a better world. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And on that topic, actually, I saw a documentary this week that was recommended to me by a finance person, actually, and it's called 2040, and it's done by an Australian filmmaker who it talks about what the future would look like in 2040 if we applied the technologies that already exist today. What the planet would be like.
So we basically already would have everything.
Yes, that's his case. And actually, Renat Heuberger from South Pole said the same thing. The technology exists already, but it's in the application. Yeah.
So when we talk about the future of tech, it's not the future. That's something that Susan Dröscher of Karoo told me. We always ask about what would the future look like. No, actually everything is here already. It could be the present, and that's exactly what you're saying.
That's exactly what my experts have also said to me, and that's why it was so nice to see this in a visualized. It's in a very creative way, and he tells it. It's like a love letter to his daughter. So you see her when she's 4, and then you see her, you know, when she's in her 30s, you know, and what her world is like if you apply these things in how the world. So it's a very positive thing. It's not critical, so to speak, but it leaves you with at least a feeling of hope, because so many of these documentaries are often, they're downers. They're hard to watch, you know. You're like, oh, I know, and you feel powerless. But this one kind of leaves you feeling more empowered.
We could actually do something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe that, so, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I'm on board with the program in that sense. But anyway, talking about watching things you see, what have you been watching these days? What's
Netflix or streaming? Yes.
Yeah.
So besides the summer series, if you already watched that, we can give you a few recommendations. I've been watching Coisa Mais Linda, Girls from Ipanema.
Doesn't she say it so beautifully? Oh, it sounds so much better than Girls from Ipanema. Anyway.
Coisa Mais Linda, a Brazilian series on Netflix, and I am just in love with the characters.
Oh.
With the 4 women, Adélia, Malu, who else? You know it. Our cameraman. What else?
Who else, Roberto?
I don't know the name.
Oh,
okay.
Adélia, Malu, Teresa, and Ligia, exactly. So it's set in the 1950s, and one of the women, Malu, she opens a music club where they discover bossa nova. But what I like about it is that these women all of them are feminists. They're very strong, powerful women, but at the same time they're very feminine as well, and that's something I like because I can somehow also identify a little bit with that. You see their struggles where sometimes they, especially one of them, Teresa, she's a journalist, and then she works at the women's magazine, and all of her colleagues are men.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
And a woman's magazine.
In a woman's magazine. And I think that still happens today sometimes in media companies where they say we need to attract more women to read our newspaper. So let's set up a task force, and a task force often then consists of men or maybe one woman or things like that, which are kind of funny. And what I liked is also that for me, this is really showing that these streaming apps are looking into different stories. They're bringing more diversity. And when I mean diversity, it's not just gender diversity. Well, here, with the 4 women main characters. But it's also diversity. It's a Brazilian series, or you can watch a Hong Kong series. But speaking about diversity, there's so many that I realized that these streaming platforms are really at the forefront when it comes to that compared to TV or film. I just wanted to mention a few, like for instance, if you have Apple TV, Mythic Quest, which is a gaming show. So, the diversity is also looking into subcultures,
Sure.
And at first I thought a gaming series, but it's so funny. And one of the characters is a female coder. She's the only girl in the management of that gaming company.
Okay.
And she's Asian a bit. So, suddenly I see either women that I can identify with, either if it's because of their personality or of their looks. And I really, really like that. One more, Hollywood on Netflix. It's like gay, they're gay black actors, Asian actors, female lead, and it's like all over the place. But somehow I just feel like it drives to at least, open that play field somehow. But
I, as I was listening to you, I was thinking that sometimes for my taste, and I will admit it, sometimes I feel like it's a little too much. Like it feels a little bit forced. We have to have the black, the Asian, the gay, now it's all about gay women. You see a lot more gay women characters. Yeah. No issues with any of these things at all. I embrace diversity, love diversity. But I sometimes I feel like, okay, it feels a little formulaic. Sometimes it doesn't feel natural.
Actually, it's funny because in Hollywood, you really have all of them represented. And there you might say, okay, one more, you needed that. But then I think it's just to also, maybe it was on purpose. Maybe we're also not used to it because we're always used to this family series where it's all
white or all black.
But our reality is so much life is diverse. Yeah. It is, and I think maybe we're just not used to it. And then, of course, not every series needs to represent everyone. But if there are series for everyone, like there is a drag series, then you can watch but at least there is something for everyone.
I agree. I agree. now you can tick all of the boxes and everybody feels represented. And I think that is important. I mean, especially for kids, to be able to see themselves, like you said, represented and see their stories being told. I value that. I guess from a production standpoint, sometimes I feel like, okay, now it's like if you don't cover every base, then you're no longer relevant. I don't know.
That's a good point that you're mentioning, because sometimes you also see that in boards or pictures of companies where they put there's one woman and one black person, and then sometimes you ask yourself,
an Asian.
Yeah, are they doing it because they believe in it, or are they doing it because you have to, and it's like kind of whitewashing? So I hope that they're doing it out of real,
consciously,
consciously, and also because they believe in it, and not just because you have to.
And it's an interesting conversation anyway. I mean, that's becoming more and more relevant because people are becoming more and more sensitive to these topics. I mean, again, as you're talking, I'm thinking about something that I saw on Netflix this week, which was Hamilton, which was the stage production, the Tony Award-winning stage production by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's like a biography of Alexander Hamilton, one of the founding fathers of the United States, his story. It takes place during a time in history where we're trying to get away from slavery, and this is still a very hot topic, and a lot of founding fathers were in fact slave owners and all this. And all of this to say that even though it drove up Disney Plus's app downloads by 74% over the weekend in the United States, it also has brought quite a backlash. People criticizing how Miranda, Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator, approached slavery and whether or not it was talked about enough as being part of Alexander Hamilton's reality, etc. I mean, and to the point where he had to actually answer and tell people, listen, we didn't. I've made stars out of African American artists that otherwise may have been overlooked, because they did a blind race casting at the time. Oh. This was back in 2015, by the way. So Hamilton's been around a bit, and so they didn't know if they were. And so a lot of these characters that in our minds, in our traditional history books, are white, are in fact black, African American on stage in this production. So cool. he really made a conscious effort to sort of represent.
And did you like it?
That's a good question, because it was such a hit. I assumed that I was going to sit down and just love it. For me, it has a lot of merits. I think it has a lot of interesting. It is Lin-Manuel Miranda, so there's a lot of hip hop. There's a lot of even rap. There's a lot of almost talking, and it's very dynamic. It's not a traditional musical theater production, but yeah, I mean, for me, musical theater production, also, I would walk out humming a song, or a song would really stay with me. But I didn't walk away with that, Yeah, I don't know.
So you didn't really leave an impression, like...
No, or maybe it was just too much hype. Maybe the hype was so much that it just didn't live up to the hype for me.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I can say. I enjoyed it. I think it's very well done, and I think it's super talented artists, but it is long, it's quite long. So yeah.
Well, let us know what you think about the series that we just mentioned, Coisa Mais Linda, Morning Show.
Yeah.
Home Before Dark.
I'm going to be like the only person on the planet who didn't like Hamilton. No, actually, I have a friend on Facebook who already said she also wasn't quite into it. But yeah.
Well, at least there's something for everyone. That's the good thing about these streaming platforms.
Right.
There's so much, and if you don't like it, you just go to the next one.
Right, and summer is here, so you're going to have time, probably, if you're not outside enjoying the sun.
Exactly. And on that note, I would say we are going to take a break, and we'll be back after the summer break.
That's right.
In August.
That's right.
And we wish you really happy vacation, holidays.
Do take care. Remember that, just because it's summer, COVID is nowhere near gone. I mean, it's just a bit, it's calmed down a little bit, but if we want to keep it that way and move forward, we've got to make sure to follow all of the protocols, your distancing, your masks, don't leave home without it, and wear your sunscreen.
Yes, yes.
That's very important.
Something we forget often the first day. Great. Have a happy vacation, and you too, AM.
Yeah, TK, be safe.
Yeah.
Be safe.
We'll be
and
in
all
touch.
of you, like we said, we'll see you after the summer break. Take care.
Thank you so much.